Hi, I'm Rickey Gadson. Ever since I launched a new line of RG62 H2 Performance products, the biggest question I've been getting from everybody was, how will it work with my stock H2? Like, do I have to have a pipe? Do I have to have my ECU flashed? Just a bunch of questions about what do they need to have before they install the new RG62 Performance or Performance Plus. Today we're going to get the answer to that question. We're going to dyno a 2016 Ninja H2 bone stock with no mods whatsoever. We'll first get our baseline established on the dyno, and then we'll start making changes and just see how much horsepower we can pick up. Stay tuned.
Every night, late night, run for us, go for us, real quick. It ain't one person that can pick up. Fuck how I was in the past 6. Catch up now.
That's our baseline, 184 horsepower on the second pull. And keep in mind, folks, my dyno reads really low. This is not a good dyno for big numbers. When I've compared it to numbers like Brock's and Chris Moore's, my dyno reads considerably low. So anyway, there's your baseline, 184 horsepower, because it really doesn't matter what the number is, it matters what the gain is, because if your number is 184 on my dyno, it could be 210 on someone else's dyno. So anyway, we'll start work here and see what we can get out of this box stock 2016 Kawasaki Ninja H2 with the RG62 Performance Plus Upgrade. You just got upgraded. Well, before this new Kawasaki Ninja H2 gets upgraded, there's one thing we got to do, which is the most important thing, and that's de-restrict the ECU. So I got to lift all the restrictions on the ECU, and in order to do that, we got to get the front fairing off. The ECU is located in the right side of the front fairing. The front fairing is a little tricky to get off, so I'm going to kind of see if I can get through it and walk you through it. So we got the side fairing off, and you got to take the rectifier loose from here. So you got to take the screw loose for the ram air right there. You got to take, of course, your inside panel off. You have to take this bolt out, which are these bolts right here. You have to take that one out there, and then you got the same thing on the other side. Then you have to come around front here, and you have to take the push pins out of here. 1, 2, 3, one on this side, one on this side. So that's 4 push pins. Drop this panel down, and once you take these top 2 screws out right there, and work the fairing out forward. Alright, and once you work the fairing out, of course, you got to disconnect the headlights and all the cables here that you need to disconnect. But there's your ECU sitting right there. Here's a better picture of it right here. So when you want to take it off, you have to take the screws out to take it out. But the hardest part is getting the first part is done, de-restricting the ECU so that the bike can rev more, so that the bike, the electronic throttle valves doesn't close off. On the stock Ninja H2s, Kawasaki has it set so that the throttle valves, which is the plates, this is a throttle by wire motorcycle, so it doesn't matter what you do with your throttle hand. The electronic throttle valves is what meters the horsepower, and at 11,000 RPMs when they're stock, they're open at 100% up to 11,000, and then after 11,000 they close all the way down to 31% by the time you get to 13.5. So we lifted those restrictions from the throttle valves, added some timing, and just that. So we want to see where we at before we do the RG62 Performance Plus enhancement. So let's dyno it and see what we got just from doing that. Is just from the ECU flash on a stocker with nothing else. 212 horsepower from 184. And if you look at over here, look at the difference over here. And like I told you before, let me get to RPM. Like I told you before, at 11,000, this motorcycle, here's 11,000 RPMs right here. The throttle valves are 100% open from the factory. So there's not much power difference there. Went from 183 to 188. But after 11,000, the throttle plates start to close off. Thus, the horsepower decline. Now, when you go just to 12,000 RPMs, now you have a difference from 173 to 204. So that's 31 horsepower difference right there, just at 12,000 RPMs. And of course, when you go, I extended the rev, so when you go over here, there's just no comparison at all. So basically 100 horsepower. If you stay in the throttle wide open on a stocker till you get to 13.5 on the tack, 14,000 on the tack, you've lost 100 horsepower. So really there's no need to do it. So this is just the ECU flash without a tune, okay? So we have our baseline established. Now we have our ECU flash established. No tune, just ECU flash. This is the difference. Now we're gonna keep moving.
Provide quality parts from your neighborhood Advance Auto Parts. You can also buy tried and true moved parts online at
Or paint the nails. You to that bag of chips with what
Leave now my kid. He be what I'm gonna listen to. And you stay looks like one great big alley.
We ran it at our baseline run, then we flashed it, and now we've installed the RG62 Performance Plus Kit. No other mods yet, just those three things. Still with the stock exhaust, still with the stock oil. Let's see what we got. No matter how you look at it, this is absolutely, positively a whole different motorcycle. So the stock exhaust, flash, and the RG62 upgrade, without anything else, no air filter, no thin oil, no nothing. This is absolutely a different motorcycle. A 234 horsepower. As you can see, that's from one pole to the next pole basically. 234 horsepower from run number 3 to run number 5. The only difference is installing the RG62 kit. So let's take a look. 22 horsepower there, 23 horsepower there, like 22 horsepower there. So no matter where you look at it, even at 11,000 RPMs, bike's making 16 more there. Wow, I mean, this is without, still got the stock exhaust on here. Still got the stock exhaust, ladies and gentlemen. Installing the RG62 Performance Plus package without any tuning, we saw what the numbers was. But with tuning, I've actually started tuning the ECU Woolwich box. I'm quite impressed with what I see here. So we went from, let's take a look here. We went from the stock H2, which is the green line here, making a baseline of 184 horsepower on run number 2, to just flashing it with my Woolwich box, and I got 213 horsepower, which is this blue line right here. So with the blue line, we ended up with 213 horsepower, and with the RG62 Performance Plus Kit installed with the stacks, look at the difference here, guys. 27 horsepower difference on a box stock motorcycle. And look how nice the air fuel graph looks. Let me blow this up. This is our air fuel. The red is where we are now after tuning. And of course the red, as you see here, makes the most horsepower. And that's tuning it right at 11.8. And here at the top, it leaned out some. I'm about to go in and change and bring this down into the 11.9 range. There you have it. That's the answer to one of the most asked questions. Not good conditions today. It's 90 degrees outside. My dyno reads very low, but still, like I said, we're looking at gains here. So in order of gains, we've actually picked up 56 horsepower from stock. So now that we got our flash done, and we got our RG62 Performance Plus Kit installed, and we've tuned it through the ECU, there's but one thing left to do, and that's see how very restrictive the air filter is. So remember, we had 239 horsepower on the last pull, and we're here to see how restricted this air filter is. Is with the air filter. Look at how restricted the air filter. We just went from 239 to 256. Jeez, that is unbelievable. And here, this shows that it made horsepower all the way across the rev range, everywhere, everywhere. Look at that. That's unbelievable. So quite honestly, what else is there to prove? Well, that should absolutely answer everybody's question. Can you go from stock to 256 horsepower in 8 hours? Yes, you can. With the help of the RG62 Performance Plus Kit and stock exhaust, stock oil, pump gas, everything. That's pretty badass, from mile to wild. So now that we've done everything else, now it's time to see what it's going to do with MR12. We've ran it bone stock. We ran it with just a Woolwich tune. We ran it with the RG62 kit, no tune. Then we ran it with the RG62 Performance Plus Kit tune through the ECU. And now it's time to run it all on pump gas. Now it's time to run it on MR12 just to cover all bases and see where we at. We also took the air filter out after we put the RG62 Performance Plus Kit in there just to see what the gains were, and the gains were astronomical. And now we're going to throw some MR12 because that's what everybody does.
Have a more detailed section, and it tells to how well the school is rated.
Math and know-how. You can keep anything on the road.
Still need to put some more fuel to it. This is exactly what MR12 does. If you look at it, the blue line is on pump gas, and the red line is MR12, tuned to the MR12, because I tuned it through the Willits box, and we picked up another 10 horsepower at 11.5, even with the torque. You got torque here, 104 to 109, so we picked up 5 foot-pounds of torque. Solid 5. So just like I thought, MR12 did make more horsepower, and I just wanted to cover all bases. So basically at the end of the day, this is what we got. We went from mild to absolutely extremely wild. So if you want your H2 to be like this, then you can log on to Rickey-Gadson.com and order your RG Performance Plus Kit. Make your H2 just as bad as this one. So I guess the question has been answered. Can you install the RG62 Performance Plus Kit on a bone stock motorcycle? The answer is yes, you can. Stock exhaust. Would I have a pipe on my bike to get more horsepower? I sure would. But for you budget conscious people, this is one way of doing it without having to spend the extra money, although I would.